Hello, welcome to Rank 10s. Today we will take a look at the top 10 most ruthless military leaders of all times. Viewer discretion is advised. Off at number 10 is Nero, one of the most infamous Roman emperors of all time. He ruled from 54 to 68 AD. His reign was marked by both extravagance and cruelty, leading to his eventual downfall and suicide. Known for his artistic talents, Nero was a skilled musician and poet. However, his lavish lifestyle and extravagant spending alienated many in Rome. His persecution of Christians, culminating in the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, further tarnished his reputation. Accused of starting the fire himself, Nero blamed the Christians and used the event as an excuse to persecute them. Despite his efforts to quell the growing discontent, Nero's reign was ultimately brought to an end by a rebellion led by his governor, Galba. Faced with the prospect of capture and execution, Nero committed suicide in 68 AD. Number 9 on our list is Leopold II. Born 1835, was the King of Belgium from 1865 to 1909. While his reign was marked by economic prosperity and modernization in Belgium, his rule over the Congo Free State was characterized by extreme brutality and exploitation. Leopold II acquired the Congo as a private colony in 1885, promising to abolish slavery and promote human rights. However, his true intentions were far more sinister. Under his reign, the Congo was subjected to a reign of terror. Congolese villagers were first forced to harvest ivory and rubber, often under inhumane conditions. Failure to meet quotas resulted in brutal punishments, including mutilation and even death. Millions of Congolese died as a result of Leopold's policies, making his rule one of the most horrific episodes in colonial history. International outrage over Leopold's atrocities eventually led to the Belgian government taking control of the Congo in 1908. However, the damage done to the country and its people was irreparable. Leopold II's legacy remains a stain on Belgian history, a reminder of the dark side of colonialism. Arriving at number 8 on our list, we have Augusto Pinochet. He was a Chilean military general and dictator who ruled the country from 1973 to 1990. His rise to power was marked by a coup that overthrew the democratically elected government of Salvador Allende. Pinochet's regime was characterized by severe human rights abuses, including the torture, disappearance, and murder of thousands of political opponents and dissidents. Pinochet's economic policies, known as the Chicago Boys model, implemented free market reforms that led to significant economic growth in Chile. However, this growth came at a high cost, as it exacerbated social inequality and led to increased poverty for many Chileans. Pinochet's authoritarian rule also suppressed civil liberties and democratic institutions, and his regime was widely condemned by the international community. Despite facing widespread criticism, Pinochet remained in power until 1990, when he was defeated in a plebiscite that called for a return to democracy. After leaving office, Pinochet was indicted on charges of human rights abuses, but he was able to evade prosecution for many years due to his influence over the Chilean judiciary. He eventually died in 2006 while under house arrest. At number 7 on our list, we have Idi Amin, a Ugandan military officer and politician who served as the country's third president from 1971 to 1979. His rule was marked by extreme brutality and human rights abuses, earning him the nickname Butcher of Uganda. Amin seized power in a coup in 1971, overthrowing the government of Milton Obote. His regime was characterized by rampant corruption, nepotism, and a disregard for human life. Under Amin's rule, thousands of Ugandans were arbitrarily arrested, tortured, and executed. His government also targets specific ethnic groups, particularly the Acholi and Lengo tribes. Amin's policies had devastating consequences for Uganda's economy and society. His expulsion of Uganda's Asian population in 1972 led to economic chaos and the collapse of essential services. The resulting instability and violence created a humanitarian crisis that claimed countless lives. Ultimately, Amin's regime was overthrown in 1979 by a joint Ugandan-Tanzanian force, and he fled into exile. Arriving at number 6 on our list, we have Pol Pot. He was the leader of the Khmer Rouge, a communist party that ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979. His reign is remembered for its extreme brutality and the devastating impact it had on the Cambodian people. Pol Pot's regime aimed to create a utopian agrarian society, free from foreign influence and class divisions. To achieve this, the Khmer Rouge forced millions of city dwellers into rural labor camps, known as killing fields. Conditions in these camps were harsh, with little food, inadequate shelter, and forced labor. Many Cambodians died of starvation, disease, or exhaustion. In addition to the physical hardships, the Khmer Rouge imposed strict ideological controls on the population. Intellectuals, artists, and anyone perceived as a threat to the regime were targeted for persecution. Millions of Cambodians were executed or tortured to death, resulting in one of the deadliest genocides of the 20th century. Pol Pot's reign ended in 1979 when Vietnamese forces invaded Cambodia and ousted the Khmer Rouge. He continued to lead the Khmer Rouge from exile until his death in 1990. At number 5 on our list, we have Adolf Hitler. He was a charismatic yet ruthless Austrian-born politician who rose to power as the leader of Nazi Germany from 1933 until his death in 1945. His radical philosophies, based on racial supremacy and anti-Semitism, fueled his rise to power and led to one of the darkest periods in human history. Hitler's belief in the superiority of the Aryan race, coupled with his hatred of Jews and other minority groups, formed the core of his political philosophy. Through his powerful rhetoric and propaganda, he successfully mobilized millions of Germans to support his extremist views. His aggressive foreign policy, culminating in the invasion of Poland in 1939, triggered the Second World War. Hitler's leadership is synonymous with the Holocaust, the systemic genocide of approximately 6 million Jews and millions of others, including Roma, people with disabilities, and LGBTQ+ individuals. The atrocities committed under his regime are a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred and the devastating consequences of totalitarian rule. At number 4 on the list, we have Joseph Stalin, a Georgian-born Bolshevik revolutionary. He rose to power in the Soviet Union following the death of Vladimir Lenin in 1924. His reign, which lasted until his death in 1953, was marked by ruthless authoritarianism and the suppression of opposition. Stalin implemented a system of forced collectivization of agriculture, leading to widespread famine and the deaths of millions. He also oversaw the Great Purge, a period of intense political repression in which millions of people were arrested, exiled, or executed on suspicion of disloyalty. Stalin's industrialization drive, while achieving significant economic growth, came at a high human cost, with millions of people forced into labor camps. Despite his brutal policies, Stalin is also credited with transforming the Soviet Union into a global superpower. His leadership during World War II, while controversial in some respects, helped defeat Nazi Germany and Japan. However, his legacy remains deeply contested due to the immense suffering and loss of life caused by his regime. At number 3 on the list, we have Vlad the Impaler, also known as Vlad III, Dracula. He was a 15th century ruler of Wallachia in modern-day Romania. His name has become synonymous with cruelty and violence, largely due to his extensive use of impalement as a form of punishment and deterrence. Vlad's use of impalement was not merely a sadistic act, but a strategic tool. He employed it to instill fear in his enemies and to maintain order within his territory. By impaling thousands of Ottoman soldiers, he was able to deter future invasions and strengthen his position. However, his reputation as a brutal ruler also made him a target for his enemies, and he was eventually overthrown and killed. Despite his reputation as a ruthless tyrant, Vlad was also a skilled military leader and a defender of his homeland. He fought bravely against the Ottoman Empire, a powerful and aggressive force in the region. His legacy remains complex, with some historians viewing him as a hero who defended Wallachia against foreign invaders, while others see him as a cruel and ruthless tyrant. Earning the second spot on our list, we have Attila the Hun. He was a fearsome warrior and ruler of the Hunnic Empire in the 5th century AD, and is often remembered as one of history's most ruthless and terrifying figures. His name became synonymous with destruction and terror, earning him the nickname Scourge of God. Leading his nomadic people on a series of devastating raids across Europe, Attila's armies were renowned for their ferocity and brutality. He sacked cities, ravaged the countryside, and inflicted countless casualties. His military prowess and strategic brilliance made him a formidable opponent for the Roman Empire, which struggled to contain his invasions. Attila's reign culminated in a decisive battle against a combined Roman-Visigothic army in 451 AD. The Battle of the Chalons-sur-Marne, though inconclusive, marked the peak of Attila's power and influence. Despite his eventual death in 453 AD, Attila's legacy as a fearsome conqueror and his symbol of barbarian might continues to resonate through the ages. Claiming the number one spot on our list is Genghis Khan, a name synonymous with conquest and empire. He was a 13th century Mongolian ruler who united the nomadic tribes of Central Asia and established the largest land empire in history. Born Temujin, he rose to power through a combination of military prowess, strategic alliances, and ruthless tactics. Genghis Khan's military campaigns were characterized by their brutality and efficiency. He employed advanced military tactics, such as a division of forces and feigned retreats, to outmaneuver his opponents. His armies were equipped with powerful bows and arrows, and his cavalry was renowned for its speed and mobility. Through a series of conquests, Genghis Khan expanded the Mongol Empire across Asia, conquering vast territories from the Pacific Ocean to the Black Sea. Despite his reputation as a ruthless conqueror, Genghis Khan also established a system of laws and order within the Mongol Empire. He promoted religious tolerance and encouraged trade and cultural exchange. His legacy continues to be debated, with some historians emphasizing his contributions to the development of the Silk Road and the spread of ideas and technologies, while others focus on the immense human suffering caused by his conquests.